How long do we want to make this?
I
Let's say
guess an hour.
probably, I would say if we're pushing it, longest would be about an hour and a half.
Yeah, longest should be an hour and a half.
Okay.
All right,
Episode
I'm just
listening.
I'm just gonna go ahead and post this.
Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Ah, welcome everyone to the VUP or the Vulcan and Unova podcast live stream thing. Something new we're doing, but I'll let my friend here lead the way.
Yeah. So, yeah, I get no one even expected this. I'm sure. Like,
I mean,
it's
like, you went from reviewing small ponies to a random podcast with a guy who's only got 54 subscribers. My name's Lord Vulcan. Subscribe, please. My channel's dying, guys. Come on, please. I only have 6 videos, 2 of which are from a year ago, but come on, subscribe. I'm great. I'm a good person.
but I decided to try to make this channel very active since it was also similarly dead until recently when I decided to put out the collab video me and Chalkfee worked on for like a month, in which while he did all the editing, I had to make sure. Oh God! And speaking of which, Chalkfee's in the chat now.
Oh God, we have our first viewer. Hello, Mr. or Mrs. Chalkfee person. I have not watched the collab or any of your stuff, but I hope to know you in the future. Possibly, don't know. But anyway, this is VUP episode 0. For any of you who watch anime, you're probably laughing at that. Anyway, and today we started off by talking about probably the most controversial card game out there, Yu-Gi-Oh! But specifically, Arc 5, the anime that partially killed an animation company.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, for those of you who do not know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game, although you're on the internet, so you probably know what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. And essentially, has currently 6 animes. All of which we will discuss at some point on the VUP, but today we're talking about its most recently finished one, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, which was a travesty and a mess. Would you care to start talking about why, my friend?
Yeah, let's definitely start talking about this with the beginning, no less. So, the beginning of Arc 5 has us start out with our protagonist, Yuya Sakaki, and one of the most interesting starting points for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist, in which they are literally like crestfallen and considered like a laughing stock due to an incident involving around their father when they were like only like 7 years old, in which they decided to run out of his life after a big championship against a one strong duelist. And well, let's just say the anime goes into great lengths to show how it affects Yuya into how he sort of made this clown Sona for himself, in which he tries to show that like everything is fine even though he's not taking anything seriously.
It's the thing about Arc 5 is it's an anime that starts off like really good. I mean, the entire building up of Yuya's power, even though he randomly gets the power to pendulum summon, but the building up of his abilities as a duelist and the building up of people around him is actually really interesting. However, that completely goes down the hill when we get into the talk of parallel universes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is gonna be weird. In the anime of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, there are 4 universes. There is the standard universe, then there is the fusion universe, the XYZ's universe, and the synchro universe. For those of you who do not know what that refers to, those are 4 of the major summoning mechanics in the card game. And essentially, the fusion dimension is all like, we're the best, or we're going to be the best that there ever was. Like, no one ever was before. You know, getting that Pokemon reference in there. But, so they invade the Xyz dimension. Oh yeah, before I go on, spoilers. We are not. This isn't a review. This is literally us talking absolute garbage about this anime because this anime is trash. but the fusion dimension's like, oh, we're the best, so we're gonna invade everything else and destroy it all. Until you learn the motivations of the leader of the fusion dimension, which is really dumb. But so the standard dimension main sort of character, who is Declan, is like, nah, we gotta stop this, and like raises up these people called the Lancers to go to the other dimensions to fight them off, and it all just kind of goes downhill from there, really. Because at first you're watching an anime about kids playing card games, and it's like there's a big tournament, and it looks really cool, and then out of nowhere it's parallel dimensions, and you're just like, wait, what? What's happening?
It's like everything you know and love is just turning to upside down, and you have no idea where the series is going to head off to.
Upside down. Totally not a Stranger Things reference. God, I love Stranger Things. Why can't we talk about Stranger Things? Why are we talking about it?
Well, the reason why is because I haven't seen any Stranger Things.
Oh, dude, Stranger Things is so good.
I should probably get ahead and watch it as soon as I get Netflix back, since I'm not subscribed to Netflix at this moment.
Oh, dude. Okay, anyway. I mean, Arc 5 itself, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's a harmless anime. It is a harmless anime. But I'm gonna be revealing some seriously plot spoilers here, but let me just tell you how, and this is gonna reinforce how, what the fuck this anime is. Sorry for the swearing. This will condone some swearing because I can't control my potty mouth. I'm very sorry.
Gotcha.
That was me smacking myself. There we go. Anyway, the main character is a piece of a super bad villain dude. And these 4 pieces are scattered across the 4 dimensions. And essentially, this guy is like a really bad person called Zark, because he wanted to fuse with his dragons.
Yeah.
I know this sounds like, wait, what? But that's literally what happened to us in the anime. It was like, wait, what? And he's one of 4 pieces. So one of 4 pieces of this ancient being from the original universe, because the universe wasn't in 4, it was in 1, and it was split into 4 because of him. And then this guy's daughter defeated him, which then somehow split the universe into 4. And the main motivation, and this is where I'm going to, this is just us giving basic plot synopsis. We're going to be talking absolute crap about this anime in a minute. But the main motivations of the villain is to reunite his daughter, even though his daughter was separated herself, like the main villain, to prevent the main villain from coming back. And her father knows this, but does it anyway.
It's like a man who's too selfish to live.
Oh, God. Akaba Leo, the main villain, is such a bad villain. His main motivation is, I want my daughter back. And then, like, when the main character, Yuya, comes up, and he's like, you're the devil! And you're going to resurrect this demon god. Not me, you, because of your own existence. And you're just like, what? Oh, God. I'm going to stop talking now and let you take over.
All right. Well, let's see. If we're going to talk about how bad Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V is, while I don't consider it like as bad as you do, there is one point in the series in which I just flat out gave up and stopped watching it for nearly over a year. Oh, sorry, nearly over half a year.
Jesus, what happened?
Well, it's called Synchro Arc.
Oh, God. Okay, for those of you who don't know, the anime heavily stressed that the synchro dimension was pretty out of there because the fusion dimension was the main villains. The XYZ's dimension had been completely invaded and taken over by the fusion dimension, and the synchro dimension was like completely neutral ground. So Declan, the main leader of the protagonists, who isn't the main protagonist, but that's an argument for another time, was like, we should go to synchro to get support against the fusion dimension. And we was there for half of the anime length. We was there for about how many? We was there for like the complete of season 2 of it, wasn't we?
Oh, yes. Wait. Yes, it was the entire second season. Oh my god. The entire second season was nothing but like the first episode was just like the
oh my god, it
and,
was.
yes. Oh my god.
Jesus.
Oh my
so
god.
just to clarify, the entirety of Arc 5's anime is a total of 148 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The entirety of the synchro arc was from episode 50 all the way down to episode 99. We was there for 49 episodes. 49 episodes. And that was just the neutral ground.
Yeah.
And the episodes that we spent in the plot relevant areas was 48.
13, was 13 episodes for Xyz.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was 26 episodes in Fusion.
Yep. So to clarify, that's 39. Was it 39? Around 39? Did you said it's 13 Xyz?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 10 episodes less than the neutral ground. And that's the two of them combined. And oh my god, that was such a stupid decision. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked the synchro arc because it fleshed out a lot of characters, brought in some interesting characters. But when we got to the XYZ dimension, the entire anime just got fueled up on nitrogen and was just zooming all over the place. It's like, we need to go there. Oh, it's despair. Oh, we're good people. Oh, we're going to duel that person. That person's the judge. Oh, we're dueling him now. Oh, he doesn't like me. Oh, but I've dueled him again, so he likes me. Okay, we're going to fusion.
Yeah.
That was all of XYZ. It was absolutely ridiculous.
And we didn't spend any time there. And it's like that dimension could have had so much prospects, especially for people who decided to skip Zexal. Just because, like, oh, by the way,
Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, for people who don't know, was the 4th Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime that came out because they released an anime for each new addition they add to the game.
Mm-hmm. So, like, Duel Monsters was based on the original, the original anime for being focused on the card game, plus having like rituals and fusions also being like alternative methods for summoning there. Then GX was all about fusion. 5Ds is all about synchro summoning. Zexal is all about XYZ summoning. And Arc V is basically like Pendulum, but also a celebration of all the summoning methods. Even though Ritual doesn't get much anything.
I mean, honestly, when you say, I mean, the issue with Arc 5's anime is that each anime from the original one of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, that was like 200 something episodes. Mm-hmm. Then we had GX, which was about 190 something episodes. Then we had 5Ds, which in the original, not in the dub, had about 160 to 70 to 80 something episodes. I don't know specifically. Mm-hmm. Then Zexa was less than that. And Arc 5 is currently the shortest anime today. I'm pretty sure the one that's followed it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, is going to be shorter. But that's only because Arc 5 killed the production company. Because the fun fact about the production company that produced Arc 5. During the same time Arc 5 was being produced, we got a movie called Dark Side of Dimensions, which was an anniversary movie for the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! And because the production company was working on both Dark Side of Dimensions and Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, it heavily crippled their company. Massively crippled their company. Because if you watch Dark Side of Dimensions, it's a beautifully animated episode. It's a beautifully animated movie, sorry. It's just... it just looks so good. But when you're producing a movie of that quality, on top of producing a constant week-by-week anime, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to the point with Reigns, they're releasing an episode the day before the episode's meant to air. That's not good.
And also, 3 recap episodes. 3 recap episodes in the span of 30 episodes.
1 for every 10. If we get 100, we get 100 episodes for Reigns. We'll get 10 recap episodes. You just like get a punch card, and every time there's a recap episode, punch a thing on the card. When you get 10, get a free anime. Okay, no, that would be oh, free anime. Anyway. And one of the biggest issues with Arc 5 itself was like, and I know this is true. I can't remember where it was from, but one of the creators, I think, tweeted this out. They didn't know the design of the final villain Zark at all. They were never given Zark's design. They were given a script, told to make it, but they were never given any like design choices for Zark until after the episodes were made. That's why, because you get 2 designs for Zark. You get this white-haired version that actually looks really, really cool, and then you got the weird version you get at the end of the anime. Because spoilers, he comes back. Because obviously he would. It's like it's Japanese. It's not going to end with that some super big final boss guy that's a giant fucking dragon. Which is why when he comes back in the anime, he looks exactly like the main protagonist if he was a demon.
Yeah.
I mean, Arc 5 isn't the worst anime we've had. I mean, honestly, I think the worst anime we had was Zexal, but we'll get to Zexal another day. But it isn't the greatest. I mean, the thing that gets me the most is the treating of the characters. Because the characters in that series are just treated horrendously. Because when we get to Fusion, the Fusion arc, which is like the last 40 episodes of the anime, we get so much like character development. We get so much like dark, tragic stuff. It's actually a bit jarring because we spend so much filler doing other stuff. And like, essentially, in order to resurrect Zark and resurrect Leo, Akaba Leo's daughter, he has to merge together the 4 different versions of her from the 4 different dimensions. And because of that, those 4 different girls die. And like one of them's the best friend of the mate of the protagonist of the synchro dimension. One of them is the sister of another character, and one of them, oh god, who was the last one? The last one was Serena. She was actually a main character at one point.
And also close friends with Declan, the rival.
Oh god, yeah, and they die, and they never come back.
Yeah.
They never come back, except for the main Yu-Gi-Oh girl. I've got to say, Arc 5's ending is the worst ending in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It is the worst Yu-Gi-Oh! Ending we've ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, even when it had, like, entertaining moments, like in the final duel, it's like, in the end, it was just so clusterfuck that you could still see the memes out there of the ending.
So, for those of you who don't know, The final ending for Arc 5 is that Zark gets defeated by a Deus Ex Machina because he completely destroys every duelist except for the character called Rei, who is the daughter of Leo Akaba, the main villain, who doesn't officially get resurrected. This is the biggest kick in the balls, because the main instigation of the entire events of the anime is the resurrection of Rei. And these 4 girls die and merge back together to form Rei. All we get is this giant orb of energy. And nothing happens with it for ages. For ages, we don't get anything with it. And Zark is just destroying duelist after destroying duelist. And eventually one of the most obscurest of characters walks up to it and touches it. This character's a little boy and gets possessed by the spirit of Rei. So we don't actually see Rei officially get resurrected to fight Zark. And she shows up for like 5 minutes. And the duel is over. She beats him in 5 minutes. It is the biggest slap to the face the anime could ever give you.
And also the fact that we're still kind of confused about the main rival's little brother now, since we don't know his gender. We're kind of confused still.
I still think he's a dude. I still think Declan's little brother, who's the one who's possessed by Rei, is a dude. But that entire thing just made no sense. And just to clarify how bad this was, the main villain, Zark, was defeated in episode... I believe it was episode 139 or 140, which is 8 episodes before the end of the anime. That is the first time that has ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Uh-huh.
That is the first time we've had 8 episodes afterwards that ever happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! And those 8 episodes afterwards are all just about, oh, here's what's going to happen now. Because the ending, which is the point I've been trying to get to, I'm sorry about that. The ending is hilarious because you would think after the defeat of Zark, the 4 dimensions would start fusing back together into one, right? No. Okay, so as far as we're aware, because they don't actually tell us, the 4 dimensions are still separated.
Mm-hmm.
So Yuya now has to find his girlfriend, who is one of the 4 girls to make Rei, Yuzu. So he goes to the different dimensions, and we spend half of the 8 episodes with 4 separate duels.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to learn something about himself, because we haven't had 148 episodes of this anime without the main character learning something, guys.
Oh, God.
So we spend the last half of those 8 episodes doing something. And we learn that the main character, and let me stress this, out of the 4 pieces of Zark, the main character of the anime itself is the most unliked version of the 4 characters. Is the only character to have survived the great explosion thing, because we don't know what happens after Zark was defeated.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one. They've all merged into him.
Yeah.
So the best friend of Kurosaki is dead. Kurosaki is one of the guys from the X's dimension.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we gotta give props to like his English voice actor for truly embodying Shun. Just like, oh, I'm going full on raid raptors all the time, and it's like, dude, you deserve props, respect, everything.
I mean, it hasn't been since Joey Wheeler that we've had a voice actor that's been so dedicated. Anyway, like, he's dead. He's technically dead.
Mm-hmm.
The main character of the Synchro Dimension, Yuto, is dead, but no one gave a shit about Yuto, so that doesn't matter. And Yuri, one of the best villains of the anime, is also dead.
Yeah.
And you think, that's okay, that's all right. We can live with that to a degree. But we then learn the same thing has happened to the main female characters as well. So Kurosaki's sister is dead.
That's a double KO.
Serena, one of the main characters that people actually grew to like in the Synchro arc, is dead.
Hmm.
The who else? Who else was it?
Rin.
Rin,
The
the main character that Yuto was looking for, is
no,
dead.
no. Rin is Yugo. Yugo's love interest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like seriously, those two probably had the worst out of anyone.
Yeah, because
Like,
they were like the only two prominent characters outside of the legacy characters, and we're going to get to them in a minute. But in the synchro dimension, but no one's going to miss them because they were the only two people that we knew that knew of each other. Oh god, it was really stupid. But you'd think like, okay, the three of them plus Yuzu means that Rei's back, right? The entire reason the events of the anime happen. No, Yuzu's back. And you're just sitting there thinking, wait, what? Yuzu's back. How? You don't know. Why? You don't know. How? Fuck you. That's literally all we got. And it was absolutely, what is happening? And then the anime ended.
the anime ended
with
a cock tease. With a cock tease.
No, it wasn't a cock tease, man. It was like a slap to the face. Like, this is what this is how we stand.
And while everything seems cheery and such, on the inside of fans, it's like, oh my god, I can't believe this train wreck is over.
But like, let's talk about the legacy characters now.
Oh yes, let's talk about legacy characters.
I talked a lot about ranting about everything, so yeah. I'll let you talk about the legacy characters.
Alrighty then. To begin with, let's talk about the worst legacy character of the bunch, Kaito.
Okay, I was concerned where you was going with that one.
I'm sorry, but the new archetype he decided to bring is one of the most boring, clone-ish type of things you could have done to his deck type. Like, my goodness gracious. It just hurts whenever you see him basically do oh, I'm gonna bring out these two same monsters nearly every single duel, and it's like, dude, diversify your deck, man.
For those of you who don't know, I'm sorry to cut you off, man, but the legacy characters are characters that appeared in the previous 4 animes, because the other 4 animes were a thing, so we got to acknowledge them. Also, we've got to make sure we sell this anime, so they bring in secondary characters. And you think, and when the anime first starts off, you think, oh my god, so are we going to get the protagonists back? No. Okay. So who are these guys connected to? Oh, them? Oh, they're connected to the clones of our new main character. And that's all we got.
Not even that for some of them. Synchro was probably the biggest disgrace. That idea. You know.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the segment because I was going to give it to you.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is that no one in the legacy characters of Synchro knew anything about Yugo.
Nope.
At all.
Completely just didn't acknowledge his existence.
Yep. And it's really a crying shame.
It is.
Seriously, Yugo was probably one of the most likable characters. I have a good friend of mine in the Brony community who voice acts that really loves the shipping between Yugo and Rin. And she's downright disappointed about what the series did for those two.
Well, they no longer exist. They're just a part of Yuya.
Yeah. They never get their shipping moment. The fact that we only barely get less than 8 minutes of actual real-time Rin, aside from her being brain controlled.
Oh shit! Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, when we got to the fusion dimension, when we got to the sorry about that. When we got to the fusion dimension, stuff got really dark. Hold on a second.
Okay. All right. So yeah, like yeah, fusion dimension things got really dark, as he said. But for a bit of a detour while he's doing stuff.
I'm back.
Okay, now you're back. Okay, I was about to do a detour thing if you're going to be gone for longer.
No, I wasn't. It was just something in the background.
Okay. So literally, you were talking about the dark shit going on involving around the Doctor.
Oh god. So essentially, what happened was when we got to the fusion dimension, half of the plan was like, we need to go save the people that were kidnapped, like the main Yu-Gi-Oh girls. So we go there, and we find out they've planted mind control parasites in their brains. Okay, and we got the funniest thing I've ever seen in a Yu-Gi-Oh anime. We got Yugo coming and finding Rin, and they have this really emotional moment, and they're hugging and they're having a like I finally found you like moment, and it's actually really cool. And then she just blasts him out the fucking room, and then they just start dueling because she's now being mind controlled, and that's the only time you canonically saw Rin non-flashback. The only time you saw her character, like bear in mind, a plot relevant character to the plot of the anime, the only time you saw her was when she was being mind controlled, and then she just died. It was absolutely amazing.
Nathan.
It's like things like this with like the legacy characters and how they weren't implemented very well, if at all. Like the only examples of like good legacy characters are from what Vulcan mentioned about the Synchro arc, in which Crow and Jack were used to great effect. Aside from that, the only other notable legacy character I might mention for good might really be Alexis from Fusion.
Oh
But
god.
that's it. Like,
God.
Like Aster Phoenix, or Aster Phoenix, Kaido. Let's see who else.
Oh yeah, the Aster Phoenix who, after one duel against Yuya, was like, I'm a good guy now because I lost to Yuya. Because Yuya's dad walked up to him and talked to him for like 2 minutes and gave him a midlife crisis. I love Asta's character arc. It's hilarious.
Oh.
Because what happened was, and I'm going to stop talking. I need to stop talking. What happened?
Oh, hey.
Was we got Matt too.
Matt too, and he has a very good question for us.
Oh,
Where the heck were all the previous protagonists anyway? And that's simple. The writers didn't give it that. They didn't want to have them like ruin their probably like completed story arcs and like have them introduced in order to compete against like the main character or his 3 other parallel world versions. Though in the case of Arc 5, you probably wouldn't want the main characters to be involved because just look what they did to Yuto, what they did to Yugo. You don't want that to happen to Yuma, Jaden, Yuki, or Yusei. Trust me, Matthew. You don't want them to be shafted like that.
But if you think about it from a writing perspective, if you bring in the previous protagonists, you've then got to compare them to Yuya, who is the shittest Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist we've seen.
Wait.
Not Yuya.
You mean
Yuma? Oh god.
I mean, Yuma.
It is Yuya. It is Yuma. It is Yuya. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
For those of you who don't know, the protagonist in Arc 5 is called Yuya, and the protagonist in the previous season, Zexal, is called Yuma. And it gets really confusing because every Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist after Zexal is apart from the one in Brains, like you got Yuto, Yuri, Yugo, Yuya, and Yuma. And it's really awkward to try and say all the names without getting confused. But Yuya is a shit protagonist. Yuma was interesting. Who else was it? Yusei was amazing.
Oh,
I love 5Ds.
Yeah, 5Ds is amazing. Like amazing. Though Yusei is not my favorite character of that, but we could get that to later. But let's see. Jaden is literally what I would consider to be my spirit animal, essentially, in terms of like how I did school.
Like Jaden was like a really interesting contrast to Yugi from Double Monsters, because Yugi was all naive and shy, and then Jaden just comes strutting in and he's like, I'm gonna take down the strongest guy here. Oh god.
Oh my god.
That's a good point, Matt too.
There was no Trudge. There was no Trudge, Officer Trudge. That would have been amazing.
No, instead we got the background fucking police officer number 5 who came back because he apparently lost his life earnings when he lost to Yuya. That was
don't you mean Yugo? Don't you mean Yugo?
Was it Yugo he lost to?
Yes, yeah, it was Yugo actually.
Oh god, yeah, it was. That was hilarious. Like this is a character, by the way, we never saw the face off, but he loses one duel, and apparently because he lost that one duel, his entire career just went into the toilet, and they gave him one chance to get it back by dueling someone else, and it was absolutely
a Lazar cameo. Lazar. Yeah, there was like really no reason to show Lazar at all if you weren't going to do anything with his character. Like, it's just waving the fact that you could have had more legacy characters, but decided to do Bunkus, show. Decided to do Bunkus.
I mean, but back to the main point, you can't really include the previous protagonists, because comparing them to Yuya is comparing a sculpted wooden statue to a block of wood. And honestly, if you follow the plot of the 4 protagonists of each dimension being a part of Zarg, that means we've got to have Yusei, Yugi, and Jude. No, we've got to have Jaden, we've got to have Yuma, and we've got to have Yusei all fuse with Yuya, non-fan art OC, into one being. That would just be weird to watch.
Weird.
It'd be like Yusei Yama or something. Yusei Yama, I'm the dueling god.
I'm Juyama. Juyamase. Juyamase.
Juyamase. If this ever gets big, we're gonna put that on a shirt. Juyamase.
Juyamase. Da 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 da. And that one flaming skull head guy from 5Ds. I think he was referring to like the former champion before Jack took his crown.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! Like, well, that's the thing with legacy characters. They had to pick like characters that you knew but didn't know well enough, because they didn't want them to, like, oh, they've brought back that memorable character.
Or in the case of like Synchro Dimension, they brought back one of the most fan favorite characters that literally dominated multiple signers' screen time.
Yeah, but Crow's amazing.
I know Crow's amazing. And recently we had developments from Yu-Gi-Oh channels in which they talk about like how the rumors about like Black Wings was essentially a myth. It's like no one had any idea like whether or not Crow was supposed to be a villain or not, but maybe he was supposed to be the main antagonist for like the Dark Signer arc. Who knows?
I really doubt that. I hate that myth so much. The fact that like, oh, Crow turned to a good guy because cards were pretty famous. I mean, the entirety of 5D's first arc, the entirety of the 5D's arc was wrote as like one, almost as one giant cohesive story. I
Hmm.
really doubt that Crow was written to be an original antagonist. He was too well tied to Yusei for that. It just seems way off. I mean, it probably might have been knowing Konami, but I don't know. But that's 5D's.
I'm not even a protagonist free for all. Oh my god.
You see how annoying this is? We want to talk more about better anime than this anime.
It's like, okay, let's talk about one of the good things about Arc 5 then.
Okay, what's that?
In the Fusion arc,
Oh, here we go.
Battle
I know where this is going.
Battle Beast and his whole story arc.
Oh, that was a weird arc. That was a weird sub arc.
Yeah, it was, but it also kind of shows more of like how effed up the entirety of academia was.
Yeah, but then that was completely rectified after Battle Beast lost. It was completely just done after he lost. I'll let you explain that because I don't want to touch that.
Okay, so Battle Beast is this character that is shown to be like a Tarzan, like a caged human whose main goal is to card people. Which, by the way, that is the main method in the series in which you kill people by, which is used multiple times.
He shows up and kills like half of the main cast.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
It was amazing. It was amazing. And then once you see what his deck archetype is, you'll realize how much props they finally gave this archetype that was never shown in the anime before, except for maybe cameos in the Bonds Beyond Time movie. And that was Gladiator Beast support. My dude, Battle Beast was Gladiator Beast support. Woo! It was the greatest show.
He totally hasn't talked about this to me every time we bring up Gladiator Beast.
It was literally like some of the best showcases of like how awesome the archetype is, and like using what Jaden's deck was trying to do with like, you know, the Neospatians, what they easily failed at since they couldn't stay fused together for one turn, and decided to do the much more improved version of that for an antagonist deck. And seeing it wipe the floor with so many people and watch his fan favorite Crow bit the dust.
Like that was a really emotional scene. Just like the protagonist is just running in, and then Crow just turns to Yuya, and he's just like, "Live on and make people smile," and then he dies, and you're like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, it's like many Yu-Gi-Oh tubers were like saying like, "No, there's no way they're gonna kill him." No.
I mean, that is a really good point. Like, we did get a really good fusion deck, but that leads into the two worst things about that episode. There were two really bad things about that part. One, every single deck Academia used was Ancient Gear.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the issue about Academia. They all use the same tired archetype after Crowler.
They all, for Crowler was a character in, for those of you who do not know, Crowler was a character in GX who used ancient gears, and they're pretty giant, massive machines. And to pay homage to that, Arc 5 made every single bloody character, besides a handful, use ancient gears. Yeah. And the only characters who didn't use ancient gears were, I think it was Akabaleo, Sora,
Dennis,
but then Dennis was a spy, so yeah. But no, Dennis did use ancient gear.
No, but it was only once during Synchro.
Yeah, but he still had those cards. That's the point.
Oh yeah, that's right. And also Yuri also had ancient gears. Jesus.
Yeah, but Yuri had Predaplants before Ancient Gears. Yuri was only using that. I love that. It's like, I'm going to give you a chance, so I'm just going to use this deck I just took from the office that's already pre-packaged and everything. I won't use my deck because I know I'll kill you. I love that with Yuri. But
yeah, like Yuri is basically like a
Yuri. Serena.
Oh yeah,
and
with Lunar Lights.
then technically Serena again with the Parasite deck.
Oh yeah. Oh, Matthews mentioned about the four Yuri first turn kill moment. With
Oh god, yeah.
the X deck
Yeah,
of Osama.
Yuri is the fusion element of Yuya, and when he shows up, oh my god, he just FTKs 4 people at once. It is amazing because they all summon like these super badass fusion monsters, which honestly, if you think about it, didn't really make any sense why they lost to him because their effects would have. But that's beside the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yuri just like, ha, and just blows them all away, and it's amazing. And then he, like every person he duels, the first time he duels them, he beat, except Yuya. And it was amazing. It was fantastic. I love Yuri. He was the wave MVP of the Fusion arc. Like, if you saw him walk up to someone, you knew they were going to go. Like, he killed Alexis. He killed Yuya's dad, man. He killed Yuya's dad. Right in front of him. Arc 5 is brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal. Okay, let's see.
But the point I'm trying to make is like, that's 5 people. Only 5 people use alternate fusion decks. When we go to Synchro, there's like 10 Synchro mechanics used in the Synchro arc. When we go to Xyz, there's like at least 10, or at least I think it's about 7 or 8 Xyz mechanics used in the Xyz arc. When we go to Fusion, we only have Ancient Gear,
Lunar Lights.
No, not Lunar Light, not in the Fusion arc, because she used the Parasite deck in that arc.
Dang it.
And then like Arcabaleo's deck, but Arcabaleo's deck wasn't even a fusion deck, it was a pendulum deck. It was weird. Yeah. So that technically doesn't count. So that makes 4 unique fusion decks. And this came in the era where we got Shadows, where we got what else did we got other fusion
Dragoonities? No wait.
Dragoonities wasn't fusion. It was what was it? We got Metal Foes. We got Metal Foes, we got Dragoonities. We have like other really prominent fusion mechanics like Elemental Heroes. And what was it?
Cyber Dragons.
Cyber Dragons. When the fact that like Zane is a character confirmed to be in Arc 5. Zane is technically in Arc 5 and they don't use him.
It's like you could have easily used him as an antagonist.
Yes, but
Kaiser, like Cyber and archetype support, you could have done that.
Yep, but we don't get it, and it's literally like the biggest slap across the face, because it's like, oh, we have all these prominent and really powerful archetypes, but we're not going to use any of them for the fusion dimension. It's all the same deck again and again and again and again and again and again. And I understand that for like the ground grunts, but then when you got the unique characters, like Dennis, for example, I was expecting Dennis to use a fusion element to his deck. I wasn't expecting him to summon Ancient Gears, because that just felt really out of place.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't.
As a pro duelist, that's also really awkward, because like, what if you have that deck and you just draw Ancient Gears and Perform Mages in a really bad combo way? That's really bad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Which thankfully he doesn't use Ancient Gears again.
No, he actually gets a fusion monster to his bloody Perform Mage deck, which then makes you slap yourself in the face and be like, why didn't you do that in the first place? It's weird. Arc 5 is weird.
Okay.
But the other problem is, with that element of Battle Beasts, they established, like, you must be hardcore trained, like, so they basically show, like, Marine Corps training with the Duelists at Academia. Yuya beats Battle Beast, they instantly turn to his side. And I'll let you explain why that was annoying.
Okay, let's see. Because the Battle Beast arc, it wasn't just Battle Beast there. It was also his Whipping Man manager.
Whipping Man.
Yeah, Whipping Man, which I can't even care to call his name because the only thing he provides is like the other Gladiator Beast fusion monster tamer editor. It's
Mm,
like okay, okay. It's like how should I put this? Like he had a bunch of students in which he was going to educate them on like how to be good soldiers, only for then those students to be suddenly be carded by battle beasts when he was trying
yeah.
to also multitask, like trying to capture like the lancers essentially, and it's like, wow, you really are doing the worst job possible, Commander.
Not only that, like, please explain to everyone how he dies.
It's it's like, isn't it by battle beast's hands?
Yeah,
Like,
Battle Beast turns on him.
yeah, he turns on the guy who was commanding him all this time, and it's like, wow.
He pulls a Snoke. It's like, oh, I have trained this person since birth. They will never betray me. Oh my god, they betrayed me and I'm now dying.
Uh
But he dies in such a funny way where he's like, yes, yes, you're right, my students, the weak will die. And then he dies.
oh my
It's
god.
like one of the funniest. I know it's not meant to be funny, but it's hilarious because it's like you just got backstabbed and you're loving every second of it. But we're reaching an hour mark, so we need to sort of wrap this up because we can't have this for too long because people will get bored.
Let's see. Oh, let's talk about our favorite characters of Arc V.
Oh god.
You want me to start first in order to give you a
Let's wrap it up with our favorite protagonist and our favorite villain, and then we'll finish it up.
Okay. I guess I'll start first by saying like I actually really do like Yuya still. Like for Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist, he was original in the fact that he was shown to be a lot more emotional. Well, that was the crux of what led to Zark's reappearance, since anger is what gives way for his transformation. It's also kind of nice seeing like a guy being openly emotional despite being gleeful. It's like he's not like a repeat of Jaden in any way, because like Jaden doesn't really show off like his sad emotions until like say late season 3 and season 4, where he just all of a sudden gets depressed over everything that's happened because of him. But
that was funny.
But like for Yuya, it's like at first he loses to the girl protagonist in the second episode. Then he's dealing with like all these circumstances that are based off like how he was raised nicely by his father, while other people were raised terribly by their dueling schools. Like for example, that random character that came back in like the fusion dimension for 2 episodes for no reason.
Oh god, yeah, because they had no original characters in Fusion, they brought back this character that Yuya defeated
in berserk mode.
In his like berserk mode, which he goes into because he's a piece of Zark. And like he comes back and he's like, I am now even stronger. And you're just like, 1, why the fuck are you here? 2, how much? What do you mean you got fucking stronger? 3, oh, you existed.
Yeah, you were supposed to be a tournament knockout. You're just supposed to be there.
Just a complete fodder character that just comes back and you're just like, oh, he's important again. Okay.
Okay. And then he's suddenly never talked about again.
I don't even think his deck is an actual deck. I think it was like made up for the anime. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think maybe because we're running out of ideas. But okay, let's see. Continuing on, let's see. Like aside from like Yuya, Yugo. My goodness. Even if he was like literally shafted by the entirety of the anime, and like literally like his last moment was falling down to like Yuri, Yugo is a funny, rambunctious character that I have to say, Rarity fangirl, you have convinced me to join the Church of Yugo. He is a banana boy who deserves better.
Yugo was cool. I mean, I don't really understand the hate for Yugo. I don't. It's like because everyone he's just this happy-go-lucky character in such a darkened story.
Yeah. It's really kind of sad. And they never even duel. That's the biggest messed up moment. That's the biggest messed up thing about it. Out of all the characters that they fought, Yuya and Yugo never fought, even though it was teased in the opening of Synchro.
Yep. Like you go, oh no, I'm not gonna say that. But
Yugo, not Yugo. Oh, that pun. Oh, that pun.
But hey, at least it wasn't Yuto.
Yuto was probably the shortest lived you protagonist.
Just you boy.
You boy. Like literally after 20 episodes, like, I'm dead thanks to Yugo. Don't forget he killed me. And then proceed as everyone literally falls in love with Yugo.
Not only that, he shows up for like one arc and then disappears again.
Oh yeah, like during the fusion arc, like dueling against oh my god, I can't even remember the Xyz girl's name.
Just to clarify, guys, like Yuto is one of the 4 elements of Zark, one of the 4 main U-boys, one of the 4 main characters, and he's in like I think 20 plus episodes. Like he appears in like episode I think 10 or something. He appears for like in background for like 6 or 7 episodes, has one duel, then has another duel, and then dies.
Yeah.
He is the most underutilized character in the anime.
And the fact that literally Yuya just goes and mostly uses Xyz plays since he has Yuto now, it's like, was what Yuto was good for? Like just to boost Yuya?
He's a plot device. Anyway, back to the topic. So you go. Did you say your favorite antagonist?
Oh, not yet.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Dennis!
Oh, fucking Dennis.
Oh, Dennis indeed. Okay, Yuri, I have to say, Yuri's good. He's great even. But I've seen this character before done a bit better in Zexal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Yuri. Vector had you beat one series ago.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about Vector when we talk about Zexal.
Oh man, Vector.
Okay, no, right. Yeah. Dennis. Talk about Dennis.
Dennis. I'm gonna have to say this. He's my favorite character of the series.
Yeah, he is. He is your favorite character of the series. I fucking hate him.
You want to know who else hates him? like the guy behind like the Arc Via bridge. He doesn't like him.
Oh god, like for those of you who don't know, Dennis was a spy who was the main reason that the XYZ dimension was invaded. The death of what was her name? Kurosaki's sister. He personally ends up killing thousands of people in the anime. He then goes on to duel Kurosaki twice, and just comes back in Fusion and just absolutely tries to kill all the resistance and fails.
Yeah, and failed. And when Yusho was like, wait, we could do a better, and it's like, for my final performance, I shall do a magic trick and turn myself into a card. And then literally cards himself.
He commits suicide.
Yeah.
That threw me through a loop. It really did.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to know what's the worst thing about Dennis?
What's the worst thing about Dennis?
His last duel was with Kaido. What was his Kaido?
Oh yeah.
That was the worst thing. It could have been with you, show or your Lexus, but no, they had to put in the cipher support. They had to keep on advertising the boring archetype that should have never existed in the first place. Ah!
In case you can't tell, Kaito's his least favorite character in the series.
Well, no. Well, in this
Arc 5.
in Arc 5, I'm not saying he's my least favorite character in Zexal. They're completely different characters.
Oh no, he dies on the moon in Zex. He dies of suffocation.
Yeah. One of the most badass ways of dying.
I'm sorry, what? Okay, no, I'm quoting that, and if we ever make shirts, I'm putting that on the shirt. Best way to die is with suffocation.
In front of your family.
Dude, suffocation is a horrible death.
I know.
I'd rather get shot than die of suffocation. That's brutal and agonizing.
Oh.
Jesus Christ. Okay, for future reference, everyone at home, Unova wants to die of suffocation in space.
The
most unpleasant death anyone can experience.
Why can I
anyway,
say I'm a masochist?
before, oh my god, no, we're not talking about masochism. Right, just go back to Dennis.
Oh yeah, because that was already a character in Synchro.
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you need to talk about him, man.
We're not talking about any masochist characters till we get to them. In the episode, we're supposed to be covering them. Not in this episode where we're supposed to be covering Arc fucking V.
No, I mean, he is in Arc V, in the Synchro arc.
Oh, yeah, but we're not talking about him.
Okay.
We're trying to wrap this episode up.
All right. So Dennis is a very enjoyable character who is really good at playing the part of someone who aspires to be like Yusho's to duel for like Yusho, even though his true motivation is to surpass like his former master. And it's like he's an amazing showman, even better than Yuya. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that it was a lot more easier for me to build an Odd Eyes Rush deck based off of my friend Vulcan's deck, I would have gone Perform Mages. I would have gone Perform Mages just for Dennis's sake. That is how much I love this character.
I will give Dennis some props. He does get a really good redeeming duel at the end of the anime, but I just really think he's a prick. He's an absolute prick.
Oh, he is a prick. I am not going to deny that. Because if I deny that, then that just means me ignoring evidence of my characters doing flaws. And that would mean that I just solely like characters in my mind that are perfect. And that shouldn't be a mentality that fans should have of their characters. Learning something new every day. But Dennis, I love his outfit. Like, literally, he has orange as his main color scheme, and it's like, gosh, you're beautiful. I want to wear that outfit. I want to do it's showtime. Like, seriously, his English is quite fetching.
English, the side language of Japan. I do love how Japanese specifically put in English in the anime because they think English is a really cool language.
Meanwhile in America, people wanted to say Japanese words because of how cool they think it sounds. So
like "Hotaru," "Senor Kiteru." It just like that just sounds like something really badass.
Yeah.
But anyway, right. So we have Dennis and we have
Yugo and Yuya for my favorite protagonists. So what about you?
Okay, I'm gonna start with my favorite antagonist. I'm gonna start with the reverse. My favorite antagonist of Arc 5 was actually Astaphen. No, it wasn't Astaphen. Oh, the guy showed up for like 4 episodes, and then instantly turned good. Anyway, no, my favorite antagonist has to be Yuri. Oh, Yuri is amazing.
as
Yuri,
the one evil devil of the U boys.
When he first shows up, he's just obliterating people left, right, and center, turning people into cards. It's amazing. He then gets forcibly sent away by Yuzu, and he then shows back up in Fusion, beats 4 people at once, destroys them. He then turns around and duels Alexis and kills Alexis.
And that's really hard to see because Alexis was a good girl character from GX. Wait, no, she was the definitive girl.
In Arc 5, she was absolutely useless. She appeared for like 2 episodes, disappeared, held a man's hand for fucking half of the arc, and then died. And then when he finds out he's a piece of Zark, he duels Yugo and kills Yugo. And it's amazing. Because that entire duel was just like, oh, the most epic duel between 2 barely dueled characters. And we focused on something else. We barely see their duel until like they're both losing their shit. And then Kaito and Asta Phoenix show up and they're all like, we're gonna stop them from losing their minds. He just is like, nah, mate, you better calm strong, man. And he just bitches slaps them away. And they just go down as quickly as they arrived. Yugo comes back and he's like, don't worry, guys, I'm going to win. And Yuri's just, and obliterates Yugo. And it's amazing. And then he goes up to Yuya. And then Yuya's dad's like, nah, mate. Nah, mate. I'm going to win. I'm going to beat you and show my son how to duel. And then he dies. He's a monster. And he would have beat Yuya. He would have actually beat Yuya if Yuya wasn't the main character.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been so good because they could have easily done it that Yuri would have beat Yuya.
Oh yeah.
Back that way.
Oh yeah. That would have been like, oh, guess what? The main antagonist you're doing is Yuri demon form instead, and it's like, oh,
well, it would make more sense.
That would have been awesome, and that would have also been like. Maybe that could have explained why Yuri got redeemed in the end. And which I have no idea why that was even a thing in the ending.
Oh, because they needed to establish that the 4 U boys were working together so we could have Yuya use Starving Gun and Fusion Dragon. But that's the only downside to Yuri, is that after his duel with Yuya and Zark is then reformed, and Zark is beaten. Yuri is just like, I'm one of you guys now. And I'm saying that you killed his dad. You killed one of them. You killed thousands of people in the Xyz dimension. Dude, no, you're not. Oh my god. But Yuri is the Superboy Prime of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Superboy.
Oh god, Superboy Prime. Like when Yuri steps into a duel, you know that he's gonna fucking just destroy everything. And I love his mentality because he's like, I do entertainment dueling, but I just ridicule you to make me happy. But anyway, favorite antagonist is Yuri because he's just such a badass. Favorite protagonist? See, part of me wants to say Crow because I just love Crow from 5Ds, but it's because I love Crow in 5Ds that I want to say Crow. But my favorite Arc 5 protagonist, just because of the same reasons I like Yuri, and of the same reasons I love the anime, is Declan.
Yes!
I love Declan.
Declan is best Yu-Gi-Oh! Rival right now.
Declan is amazing because
he is like Kaiba, but not like sort of like antagonistic. Instead,
he is like so. Oh, what's the proper term? He's so like anti-hero. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you will work for me. I'm gonna possibly betray you all to this Council of Synchro. Oh no, I've only been working with them to show them how fucking idiotic they are and that they need our help. Oh, Yuya, I see that you've got a new summoning mechanics. Duel, and like he duels Yuya, and then halfway through he's like, I'm just dueling you to see what you can do. And then towards the end he's like, Yuya, you didn't disappoint me. And I'm like, I love this guy. I also love how the DDD mechanic is based off Dungeons and Dragons.
It is?
Yeah, DDDs. If you look at the traps, DD reroll and DD human resources, all of the DDDs are based off Dungeons and Dragons. It's a giant Dungeons and Dragons game.
Wow.
Because DD with the dots is different dimension, but DDDs, the entire like DDD stuff, is all based off Dungeons and Dragons. It's one of the reasons that D/D isn't D.D. And that's another reason why I love Declan's deck. Because the moment Declan's deck, like, let me establish how badass Declan is. Zark shows up, and he's destroying everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Declan steps up and he's like, I'm going to duel you now. He is the only person that really fucks up Zark. And then Zark's like, nah, bitch, and just bitch slaps him away.
Yeah.
But I love Declan because he's the son of Akabaleo. And he primarily made the Lancers to defeat Akabaleo. He is one of the most badass duelists out of all the Lancers. He is one of the best political characters, and he reminds me so much of Seto Kaiba.
Oh, yeah.
As Matt 2 has put it, Seto on steroids.
Seto on steroids, that's the truth. It's like, yeah, it kind of makes you think about like Dark Side of Dimensions. It's like Seto felt very much like a protagonist in there. Maybe he got it from Declan.
I honestly accept the fan theory that it's actually Seto's movie.
Yeah.
That it's all just a Seto Kaiba movie. It's nothing to do with Yugi. But we'll talk about Dark Side of Dimensions another time.
Oh,
But with that, we've got Yugo, Yuya, and Dennis from you. And then we have Yuri and Declan from me. Mm-hmm. And this has been the VUP, the Vulcan and Unova podcast, episode 0. We thank you for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope to see you next time, where we will be talking about a different Yu-Gi-Oh anime or something nerdy or whatnot. And dude, when we get to 5Ds and Zexal, man, that's going to be so good.
Oh, yes, it's going to be amazing.
Oh, dude, the duels in those animes are amazing. Anyway, hope you've had an enjoyable time, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Goodbye.
And the curtain falls.